minute.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. All right. I see you. I see you.
Oh, I was
Hey,
I was
that's what
having a
happens when
good
you come from the
time.
beach, boy. You
I'm
just man,
telling you.
that music just get you going, get you vibing. I see the beauty about this is see you can't be cute. See you over there like this.
No, that's what it is. You gotta be
No,
cute,
we ain't trying to be cute. We trying to go in. We trying to go in. We trying to go in. Hey, this your boy Pastor Mike, aka 90s number 5, and we're here in the 11th hour. We're just having some fun, enjoying this hot weather.
So hot.
Oh man, good gracious! It's so hot, like it's like fish grease on the 4th of July in the projects. Hot.
It
That's how
is.
hot it is outside.
It is. It
Man,
is.
just muggy.
Just stay indoors.
Man,
Just stay in the house.
just stay in the house. Don't even do nothing. Don't
Yep.
even do nothing
Either
at
that or
all.
go straight to pool water. Just go to the pool, to the
Just go straight to
beach.
the pool. I was in my neighborhood the other day. I seen a dude that had one of those little miniature pools, and he was in there, feet hanging, arms hanging, and he had a little drink, and just like his midsection was the only thing that was in the water. I wasn't mad at him because I
I
almost
respect
like
that man.
wanted to stop and just hang out with him. Like, man, can I get like 5 minutes?
You couldn't tell him nothing.
No,
He was
no.
at the beach.
He was.
He
In
was.
his
You
mind,
couldn't
he was
tell
at the
him.
beach.
You couldn't tell
In
him
his
nothing.
mind, he was at the beach. I wish I
Absolutely.
was with him though,
Yeah.
but my my time is coming. My time is coming.
It
All right, y'all.
is.
We here today, man. We're gonna talk about some mental health today, especially in the Black community. We're gonna get into that. So I love to allow my guests to introduce themselves and talk about themselves a little bit. So I'm gonna let my guest introduce herself and just give us a quick bio of who she is.
Yes, my name is Tempest Meriweather. I'm a licensed professional counselor. So I always tell people I'm LPC MHSP.
Oh, here we go with all these
So
initials.
licensed professional counselor with mental health service
Okay,
provider.
all right.
So that means I can officially diagnose people.
Oh, can you give out drugs too?
I cannot give out drugs,
Dang.
but
Okay. Okay.
I can diagnose, and you can take that diagnosis and say, "Hey,
Right.
my
Okay.
counselor is saying I'm
Cool.
dealing with this, and so this is my
Can
diagnosis."
they get me out of work for a couple of days if I get you to write something
It
for me?
actually can.
What? It really
It
can?
really can. It
Wow.
really
Okay.
can. So yeah, there's some paperwork there. Sometimes people do when they need. Now I won't do it just because people don't want to go to work. But
Right.
if you truly are dealing with mental health
Right.
issues or
Right.
something and need some
Okay.
time off, yeah,
Okay. Cool. But
it can
tell us a
happen.
little bit. How did you get into this field? How did you get, into this? What really made you want to be a counselor?
So it's funny. So when I was younger, I had this thing. I wanted to be a teacher. It was a veterinarian, or I wanted to be a psychiatrist. So the
Okay.
psychiatrist is the one that does prescribe the medicine.
Okay. Right.
So the reason I wanted to be a psychiatrist, have you ever seen the movie What About Bob?
I sure haven't.
Okay, so it's Bill Murray,
Okay.
the comedian Bill
Right.
Murray. And so it's a movie called What About Bob? Well, the psychiatrist in there, he's rich, but he has this couch.
Okay.
And so like ever since I saw that movie, I was always like, oh, I'm gonna have me a couch. Like
Right. Right.
I'm gonna be a counselor and I'm gonna have me a couch.
I
And
might not be able to help you, but I
yeah,
got this
I
couch right
got
here
this
though.
couch, and this is where you come lay down on the couch. And so
Okay.
that was kind of like the childhood
Right.
kind of
Right.
deal. And so then once I came to MTSU, I was actually pre-law.
Oh.
I was, and then I had a minor in psychology.
Okay.
And so I was going to my psychology classes and I was loving it. But
Mm.
then I was going to my pre-law class, my political science, and I was like, this ain't really fitting me.
Right. Right.
And so I got all the way to my junior year. And I was like, I do not want to be an attorney.
Really? Okay.
I was like, okay, so I think I want to go into psychology. And so I had to make that phone call to my granny. And my granny,
Yeah.
my granny was like, well, do what you want to do. You ain't gonna make no money in it, but do what you want to do. And so she was wrong.
Right.
I do make money, but
Yeah.
like she was wrong. But yeah, so I decided to go ahead then and change my major to psychology.
That's
And
cool.
a lot of people around me were always like, "You're a good listener,
Right.
You make good recommendations. You
Mhm.
walk with people through things, and so you kind of get that feedback from other
Right.
people too."
Well, that's cool. That's cool.
That's how I
So,
got
you
into it.
also, we also at the very beginning, you failed to mention this. I'm gonna pull this out, but you also married to some dude around the Murfreesboro area.
I
This This little guy.
This
What's his
this
name
hot
again?
dude. He's so cute. Eric Meriweather.
Oh, okay. I think I know
Yes.
that guy. I think I know him a little
Yeah. He
bit.
does a lot in the community. He's like
What?
he does some financial
Something like
advising.
that. I think he do something
Just a
with
little
something
something.
with money. I
In the
think he
newspaper
done.
from time to time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think I seen him on the news a
Yeah.
couple of
Yeah.
times.
That too. That too.
My
So
man, Mr.
yeah.
E. I appreciate Mr. E
Yeah.
for all he does. He is such a busy man in the neighborhood. He
He
does a lot
is.
for the community. So, and all because of the great support from you. It takes a great one, to be there to support a man like that. So,
Yeah, and he makes sure he does what he needs to do coming home and
right,
balancing
right.
it all too. So he's a good dude.
Yeah, I see him with them girls all the time. Like he
Yes.
loves them baby girls, man. I tell you, I got one. I got one. And I'm just telling you, I wish I'd have had her first.
Yeah.
I just tell you, because girls are just a different breed. I'm just
We
saying, they just a
are.
different breed. I
We
mean, I love
are.
her to death, like, but she's just a different breed. Okay, so tell me, you went through all this schooling, and
Mhm.
got prepared for what you do. So now, tell me, what is it that you really want to accomplish? So, okay, but let me clarify. So you want to be addressed as a therapist, counselor? What? How do we
Either
address
one of them
either
is
one?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Therapist, counselor is fine either way.
Okay, so what is it that you really want to accomplish as a therapist?
What I really want to accomplish. So, for one thing, I want to continue to like cure mental health,
Okay.
cure mental health, helping people walk through things, different mental health issues, but also life issues.
Right. Okay.
So because a lot of people think like, oh, well, I don't need to go to therapy because I'm not depressed or I'm
Mm,
not, but people don't realize that like therapy is more than just like, oh, well, because I got anxiety, that's the only reason I went. Sometimes
right.
it could just be, I just need to learn to set boundaries.
Mm,
I just, I'm just doing some things. I, got addicted to shopping or,
right.
you know what I'm saying? Different things like that. And so really wanting to walk through life with people. Also I do some speaking. And I can't,
Some speaking, huh?
I do some speaking.
No, no. That's all.
Um,
I think you do some big time speaking now. You don't do some speaking.
do some speaking. And I'm also, so people have been saying for years, like, where's the book? And I'm like, I have to, like, I still have small children.
Right.
And one big thing for me is I never wanted to be so available to the world that I wasn't available for my kids.
Beautiful. I like that. Most
So trying to
definitely.
find, and Eric is the same way. Like
Right.
one of the, like, we both have all these different things we could be getting into, and we pull ourselves back because we always want our girls to feel like, we were there.
Right.
And so ultimately I feel like it's going to lead into just a bigger platform of like people understanding mental health, because
Right.
it's so much misinformation out there.
Yes.
So
Yes.
much
So much. So
misinformation.
much. And now we're not gonna be able to get into all of that, because I mean it would take us like 3 days to get into that. And you mentioned something that I think is really important, is like some of us need to learn how to say no.
Mhm.
Like them boundaries, like they're huge. Like, I mean, that's just another subject, and so tell me, what do you feel is the most important thing that counseling provides? What do you think it provides for people?
I think one of the biggest things is provide is perspective.
Okay.
Perspective. So we all come into the world kind of blank slates to an extent. Some of it's genetics, but
Right.
for the most part, we're blank slates. And then as you live life, you go through your toddler years, all that kind of stuff. All of this information is being embedded into you.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how you see the world.
Right.
Now, of course, somebody else's experience is totally different. So they
True.
got a totally different view of the
Experience.
world.
Right.
And so we have all these different people having all these different ways that they view the world. And so what perspective can do and coming to therapy can do is help you learn other ways to think about things.
Okay.
And other ways of thinking about things can help you change your thinking, which is making you depressed. It can help change your thinking, which is making you feel anxious.
Right.
It can do all these different things. And so it gives you a different perspective. And somebody to talk to, we kind of talked about before we got on air about not telling your business. It's somewhere for you to go and get a different perspective from somebody who, one, they're not biased because they're
Right.
not related to you.
Yes.
So that you come in and you say something about your spouse, they're not gonna all of a sudden hate your spouse because
Right.
they're related. But then they're also going to be able to keep your stuff confidential.
That's it. Okay. So that's it. Like, that's what we do.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
your business is not going to be out in the street.
Right, right.
So even if you tell a friend, because people will say, "Oh, I can tell my friends, I
Mm-mm.
can talk to my," yeah, but that could come back, to bite you. Not to say don't, because you do need to support a
Right,
friends,
right,
but your counselor is going to be somebody who's going to hold all of your secrets,
right,
with the exception of if a child is being abused or
right,
something
right,
like that, when
right.
there are some stipulations there, but that confidentiality.
Okay,
So
so since you went there, you kind of already opened up that door a little bit. So I'm just gonna bust it on down. So culturally, do
yes.
you see more of us going to counseling or less of us going to counseling?
So the beautiful thing has been, particularly I think with COVID, I saw a major increase.
Okay,
Major, like I am not having an issue like I maybe would have in the past with having us come to counseling.
okay.
Now it also could be because they're starting to see more black faces.
Hmm.
And so they're like,
In
oh,
counseling, you
in
mean
counsel, like therapists.
therapist? Right,
And
right.
so they're feeling more comfortable coming.
Okay,
And there is starting to be some of that debunking myths around, mental health and stuff. And so people are starting to come. But I have actually been experiencing like an extreme increase
okay.
in people coming. And so I still think there's a large number that still won't come
Right, right,
because of the myths.
right. I mean, is some of it really myth or is it some of it really true? Because especially in the black community, we feel like, well, you haven't been through what we've been through, so how can you relate to what I'm going through? I know I need help, but I don't need the help from you.
Yeah.
Like, I need to find somebody else. Is that truth to that? I mean, because as a therapist, we're not supposed to be biased.
Right.
Well, I don't say we, like I'm a therapist, but
Yeah.
you're not supposed to be biased. You're there to help that person, but I mean, do we still see a lot of that though, in honesty?
Yeah, I think I think it's getting better. I
Okay.
think when you're talking about life skills issues,
Right.
then yes, your black counselor is going to be able to relate to you better,
Right.
just, clearly. But when you're talking about something like anxiety,
Hmm.
regardless of who you go to, that person has been a trained. Now, the personality may not fit, but as long as you can kind of get along, the treatment for anxiety is going to be the same. We're going to
Okay.
be doing exposure therapy. We're going to be, figuring out what triggers. Is it your amygdala? Is it is it top up, bottom up? Like
Right.
we're going to be figuring out the same things, and the treatment will be similar from the standpoint of actual diagnosis.
Right.
But now, like you said, those life issues, then
Right.
yeah, there may be a cultural gap between, if there's somebody who's not black.
Exactly.
So that is a thing. And then historically, I think another issue is that for black people, with us being experimented on and
Oh
things like
yeah.
that
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
past, there's a mistrust of the medical system, period.
Hmm.
And rightfully so, because some of those things that were done to us, like it wasn't in our best interest. And so
Right.
to come in now and be like, oh, trust these people, there is that mistrust there. And so I think bridging that gap is going to be really important. And so somebody like me, I can come in and be able to say, okay, I have gotten the training and I
Right.
can bring this back. And I also understand the cultural side of it. So I can help you know, when something is not right for us versus what is.
Okay. So then when you say that, I guess my question would be is when you do come back from all your training and getting all your lessons and getting everything that you need and you come back to the community, is it like I welcome you back because you have the training, or is like, oh, so you back? You think you got all the training? Like, we just being real. You know what I'm saying? What response have you really been seeing? Because because now we say, oh, so you one of them now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's like I don't want to go talk to you either. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, who you gonna talk to then? Like, you got issues with everybody. So which one are you seeing a little bit more of?
Yeah. I think I must be really blessed because and I ain't gonna toot my own horn. I think it
Gone
might
to
just
it.
be personality
Right,
stuff and
right.
things like that. But like I genuinely have not had people not come because of that.
Okay.
If they don't come, it's usually been older generation,
Mm.
and it is because they genuinely feel like ain't nothing wrong. Like nothing's wrong with them.
So they
Like
come even though they feel like nothing's wrong?
they won't come because they feel like
Okay.
something's
Okay.
wrong. That's the only group that I feel like still avoids it, but it
Okay.
doesn't have anything to do with like, oh, well, you went and got this training and now you no longer one of us. I actually, it's been really embraced, and like I said, that may be just a blessing of who I'm around and stuff like that. But I've been welcomed back with open arms from a standpoint of like, they know I'm there to help.
Right.
And I think people can feel your spirit. They can tell what you're there for.
Well, and I think you made a good point too. Is the welcoming back generationally welcome back, or is it everybody welcome back? Because you made a
Yeah.
great point about, the older generation, how they feel about it versus, I would say, 35 and under,
Mm-hmm.
how they feel about it. So I know you say you're being welcome back, but is it from everybody, or is it just that certain generation that's kind of like welcome back?
Yeah. It's still like I still have some older people that still come too. I think it's and some it is still mostly younger that's like that welcome back. I think the older generation, some of them have still been coming too though.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
And them the
I've
ones that
been
need to go.
yes,
Seriously. Like,
it's been a beautiful thing, and I really think, like I said, it's just a calling type of deal because I may
okay.
be experiencing something, and somebody else could be having a whole different experience with it.
Right. So what do you see like the trends in this field that you're in? What trends are you seeing is going up versus what may have been going down?
The trends of what's going up. So depression is going up,
Okay, depression,
anxiety is going
anxiety.
up,
Man, yeah, yeah.
ADHD is going up.
Okay, question with that one.
Yes,
Just a question.
yes.
Is it really the foods and the dyes that's really creating the ADHD, or is that really a I know it is but is it more the foods that our kids are eating with all the things they're doing? Do you think that contributes a lot to that?
I think the food is contributing to a lot of things.
Okay.
So, like, the food is even contributing to the depression too.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. So, how we're eating and how we eat, even as a culture. So,
Right.
all the salt, we
Mm.
always brag about how well seasoned our food is.
Yeah.
Uh huh.
But them greens be right
They
too, boy.
good. They contributing to our depression
I
too.
know it. But
Uh,
golly, if I gotta be depressed, boy, I want to be depressed over a
you over
bowl of
some
greens.
greens?
Green, a little pork chop, macaroni and cheese.
It's the food.
I know,
So
I know.
so yes, the food does play a part.
Okay.
That's not all of it. Of course, ADHD has been an issue, and I'm
Right.
even seeing some adults that are realizing that they had ADHD their whole life, and some of the
Mm.
stuff that they were getting punished for, like
Yeah.
getting bad grades, not being able to pay attention, not being able to stay on task, depression. They were having all these things and didn't realize it was
Right.
ADHD.
Right. Right.
So seeing a lot of that, but another thing that's contributing to the ADHD too, and it's everybody across the board, it's our cell phones.
Really?
Yes.
Is it the blue light
It's
thing?
the no, it's the so in the time that we're sitting here, your phone probably is going to go off several times, right?
Okay.
So we're sitting, we're looking at our phones, we're watching something on the TV, and somebody's talking to us in the background, and da da da. There's 5 things going on all the time.
Right.
We're never just sitting down, just eating our meal. Or just I saw something on social media earlier that was joking about how they got to find something on Netflix before they eat
Right.
because we have to be doing 2 things at a time. So that's creating division.
Mm.
So in our minds, it's training our brains to not be able to focus on one thing.
Wow. Okay.
So everybody's suffering from that. Now, it may not be full blown like ADHD, all the other symptoms too, but all of us are suffering from
Right.
not being able to focus. We can't sit down. We can't sit still. Everything is always, we're getting an email, we're getting a text message, where
Right.
you're driving and you're sitting at the light, like looking through your phone real quick. You're scrolling through social media.
I know it.
And
That
so
TikTok is a beast, boy.
TikTok, we can't, so we're not sitting still doing
Right.
one thing at a time anymore.
So what do you, as you know, how do we recognize, or when you say depression, anxiety, what are some signs that we should be looking for within ourselves that we may be going through these types of things? What should we be looking for?
So with anxiety, you're going to be looking for worry. Like
Okay.
you just everything worried about. You always coming up with scenarios. Your mind is constantly coming up with scenarios of what can go wrong. And you're always trying to be overly prepared. You'll feel it a lot in your body. You'll feel shaky. You'll feel, your hands will sweat. Some people have panic attacks where it literally feels like you are just going to pass out.
Mhm.
And be out of breath, shortness of breath, hyperventilating, that sort of thing. And so if you're somebody who you're always feeling on edge and there's always a lot of tension in your body and
Right.
stuff like that, you
Okay.
could be suffering from some anxiety. And we always tell people the thing is everybody feels depressed sometimes. Everybody
Right.
feels
Everybody.
anxious
Right.
sometimes.
Okay.
What you're going to be looking for is that like it's significantly impacting your
Okay.
life. Like you don't want to go to the grocery store anymore. You're avoiding social interaction. You're avoiding certain things because of this feeling. You
Okay.
don't want to be, in certain things. And some of the same stuff. So with depression, it's going to kind of look another way. So for men, it actually shows up a lot as anger.
Mm.
Men
Okay.
will a lot of the times think they're angry and they're actually depressed because
Wow. Okay.
anger masks sadness. We call anger a secondary emotion. So
Okay.
it's
Right.
normally
Okay.
covering up that first emotion, which is normally sadness,
Okay.
fear, those emotions. And so for men, a lot of times it'll show up as anger. It'll show up as emotional numbness, where you just feel like you don't care about nothing.
Yeah.
You just don't care. And we see that a lot in the Black communities and stuff too, where it's like, we're like, why are these people down there killing each other? Why are they
Right.
this? Why are they that? And it's like, because they ain't got hope. They don't feel good no more. They don't care about anything. They're
Right.
depressed. So we don't take into account how much depression is really big because of poverty.
Mm.
Poverty will make you depressed. Poverty will give you PTSD.
It sure
Poverty will
will.
do all those
It
things.
will.
And so lack of appetite, still with depression, lack of appetite, your weight is up and down, lack of motivation, don't feel like doing anything. You're having to force yourself to do everything
Right.
every day. It's not something where you're getting up and like, oh, okay, I want to start my day. And so that's what depression can look like.
So let me ask you a question. So what do we do, like, especially with our young people, especially because I'm just gonna really focus on the kid that come from the poverty-stricken areas and our young Black men,
Mhm.
uh, and women too. Like, what do we do? Like, as a parent, what do we do? Because they're experiencing all of that. Everything you just mentioned, they're experiencing it on 10. So what are some things that we could do to help them, like, because punishing them is not helping, that does not work.
Mm,
So what do we do, like, what can we do to really help them?
yeah. Well, first, I always tell parents, try not to blame yourself for it, because I think the first thing we do as parents is we start to go, well, what did I do? Like, what
Right.
am I not doing as a parent? And depression, anxiety, or any mental illness at all, like these things can just happen because it's just genetics or environmental. It can be all these different things. So taking that personal attack out of it,
Okay.
so that you're able to truly listen to what's going on, because sometimes your child could be just acting up.
Could be.
And if you're listening and if you're not taking certain things personal, you're going to be able to see that more clearly. And so then you're also going to be listening to the kids. And
Mhm.
I know that's something that like
Mm.
it's so different, older generation to new generation.
Yes. Yes.
Because I feel like on the one hand, the newer generation, we might be we over listening. We letting them do everything they want to do. We not setting boundaries. The
Right.
kids running the house.
Right.
The opposite extreme was they was beating us. We didn't have no children are seen but not heard,
Right.
and
Right.
we're at extremes. But the balance is good.
Okay.
We're gonna you listen. You listen, you watch, you use wisdom, you pray, because sometimes you may truly not know what to do.
Right.
And when you're in those spaces with the kids, like just truly listening and letting them know that they're loved, but attacking all of life issues as more as like, okay, baby, like this is your issue and me and you are tackling this together.
Okay.
I'm not tackling you. I'm not fighting with you. You're not cleaning your room. I'm not fighting you to clean your room. What can we do to keep your room clean?
Right.
Because then if you just not doing it, then I'm gonna assume then we need some other
Yeah.
rectifications.
We need some leather therapy.
We need some leather therapy if you just decide you just don't want to do it.
I know it, because that's just another point. But and I want to get into a subject. I cleared this with you before we got on air. Another subject that I think is really important, because you said fix.
Mhm.
I just want you to fix. Like, we're not that type of fixing business. Because here's my thought: we're a family. Like, I can't fix him without fixing you, because you're a family. But when it comes to the church,
Mm.
when it comes to the church, do you feel that or because I know, do you feel like that mental piece is missed in the church? Because we know God is the ultimate healer. We know that.
Yes.
But when you have mental issues, how can God get to you when you have mental issues? So do you feel sometimes that's overlooked in the church, that pastors just don't even, you know, acknowledge that or even want to deal with that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think the church in general, not just the pastor, but just the church in general.
Right, right.
I think we unfortunately so for black folks, because we couldn't trust the medical system, right?
Exactly.
So we relied so heavily on God is just going to heal us.
Right, right.
And now God has said, okay, that bad thing happened, but like
Hmm.
we're moving forward now. Now, no, the doctor really is telling you to stop eating this food because it's giving you high blood pressure.
Right,
Let's not just pray that away.
right.
Stop eating the pig feet. Um
Put the chitlins and hot
Put the
sauce and
chitlins
mustard
and hot
down.
sauce down. Yeah, God'll heal you, but let's just not even get there.
Right, right, right.
And so the same thing I say, with mental health, the brain is just another part of the body.
Okay.
If I break my arm, then I'm not just gonna be like, oh well, God just gonna heal it. I'm just gonna it ain't
Right,
working, but I'm just gonna no, you go to the emergency
right.
room, they bandage you up, they, do whatever. And so the brain is no different. The brain can malfunction, it can do different things just like the rest of your body
Right.
can. And so I think what happened is there's a stigma attached to the mental part when it's really no different. Mental health and physical health is really no different. In fact, your physical health can affect you can literally be depressed because you're in chronic pain.
Yes,
People who
yes.
suffer from lupus and stuff like that, they battle with depression because
Right.
your body hurts all the
Yeah.
time. And I tell people, God created us as a trinity too. We're body, we're
Hmm.
spirit, and we're soul.
Right.
And he's, God, Father, God, Son, Holy Spirit. So like we're three parts as well. And so what we like to do is try to isolate different parts. It's
Mm.
like, oh well, I'm not gonna worry about my earthly body. No, God gave you the earthly body.
Right.
Tend
Right.
to that. Again, stop eating the pig feet. And your soul, God cares
Right.
about your
Now
feelings.
you know you finna make some folks angry on here, boy. You into that pig, man? Them pork chops
I
and that ham.
listen,
I'm
the
telling you.
amount of stuff that we eat that is contributing to why we feel so bad.
Okay, but I mean, now I don't have to give you a history lesson because I know you know all of that. But that's just what they gave us, and so
It is true.
that's just what we made dinners
Yes.
out of, and so
Absolutely.
you know, so you know,
So when we know better, we do better, you know?
well, okay.
Like maybe not.
Well
Maybe if
you
I
would want to,
know
but if you
better, I
dealing with
could.
yeah, what you if you dealing with that mental health now, you need that you need them chillings to make you feel better. You know what I'm saying? You need
Listen,
it.
nothing wrong with doing these things from time to time, but when we are consistently
Modesty,
doing it,
modesty.
yeah.
Do it in
When we're
modesty.
consistently eating and not exercising and
Right,
stuff like that, just know that our body is connected to our
right,
soul.
right,
So, and the soul is the mind and the emotion. So, if your emotions are not well,
right,
then that affects things. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And so, and then the same thing spiritually. If we're off spiritually, you're going to feel that in your body. You can feel that in your soul.
right.
So, all three things are connected. So, even with therapy, I'm one of those people that's like, do you need the medication to
Hmm.
take care of your physical? Do you need to just talk it through to deal with your emotional? And do
Okay,
you need to pray about it? For
right,
those who are Christians, like I said, I don't ever push religion on anybody that's
right.
not that. But for those that are, and whatever spirituality you are, if you're Buddhist, if you're whatever your religion is, like, do you lean into that? Because all those things are connected.
Well, how do you? Well, I know because okay, being a church baby, that's part of what we were in church. How can we recognize more in that setting that it's just not the emotional, but it's a spiritual mental thing that this person is actually going through? And how to, because I know they got the new commercials out now about, do you need help? No, I don't need no help. You don't know my family. I'm getting that, but they don't really but because they don't really go into saying what hopefully you will tell us is like, how do I truly help somebody when I see these signs that you just mentioned? How do I truly help them if they're going through these things? Because if like, I believe God does what he do. That's
Mhm.
what I am. I'm a believer. But if I'm in a church setting, how do I help that person say, okay, I'm gonna pray for you, but you need some counseling? You
Yeah.
know, what would you think would be a great approach for that?
Yeah, I always say ask people the question. It's we say open-ended questions.
Okay.
Ask people those open-ended questions and don't tell them directly that that's what they need to do.
Okay, so that was a
So
bad thing for me to
yeah,
just
see,
say.
yeah, they'll just be like, oh, see, that's what you but need to be in counseling. That's what's wrong with you now.
Here's her number. Call her right
It's
now.
not
As a matter
motivating.
of fact, I got on the phone right now.
Yeah, like that's not motivating.
Okay, I got you. I got you.
No, but if you see something, it's like, okay, so I noticed you're dealing with that. Like, have
Okay.
you thought about counseling?
Right.
And then, if they give you the rebuttal, it's like, oh, well, I mean, I'm not saying, that that's just what you need to do. I'm just saying it's something you're struggling with, and you might have to keep struggling with it. It's
Right.
just, something you can maybe do something about. You ain't gotta live with that,
That's
thing
true.
like that.
Okay.
So just kind of presenting it like that. And sometimes I may not even directly say counseling. I may just be like, oh man, so you dealing with anxiety? It must be tough. Like, how is that?
Mhm.
And just getting people talking about it. And they're like, man, I didn't even realize I was dealing with that on that
Right.
level until I started talking it out, because most of us don't even realize
Yeah.
that self-awareness. We don't even realize that is that bad. I have a family member who her whole life she's actually had an anxiety disorder, but like she never thought it was. She was just like, oh, I just worry all the time. I got a
Right.
whole ulcer. Because
She
I
said a
worry.
whole
She
ulcer.
got a whole ulcer. From
Right.
worrying that much. It has
Wow.
tore the lining of her stomach.
That's crazy.
Because she gets so worried and worked up all the time. And then I'm like, she's telling me some of the other stuff, and I'm like, that sounds like anxiety.
Mhm.
And she's like, I guess I am anxious. Yeah,
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 like surprise.
And so, I always say you want people's defenses to stay down, because as soon as
Right.
you tell somebody, oh, it's something wrong with you,
Yeah.
then you're about to lose them. And
Yeah.
this is even like marriage talk. Like,
Ooh.
don't tell your spouse.
Don't say them words. Do not say them
Hey, see,
words.
you just need to go to counseling. Like, no, it's like, well,
Yeah.
honey, I noticed we having problems communicating.
Right.
That could be me, could be you, but we probably need to go figure out how to more effectively
So, and I like that
communicate.
word you said, the we
Yeah,
part. Most time it's you.
yeah,
You need to go get that worked out.
yes.
And I want to say this too, and I know you brought this up. I want to say this too. This is just for knowledge. Okay, if you have troubled teens in the house,
Mm-hmm,
yeah, we all need to go.
mm-hmm.
Don't just send the team. I mean, because like you said, it's us, we're family. So I can't fix them unless we get to the bottom of it. But uh I love what you just said, which is something I'm going to use. I'm just going to tell you right now. I'm going to be using that right now. Is that the body, the soul, and the spirit, right? So if the body is malfunctioning, it could throw everything else off too. And I don't think we think of that. Like, I really don't think we think of that, because as you were saying it, I just remember when I was going through some issues. I was having some medical issues, and I literally hurt every day
Mm,
for about 3 years straight. Like every single day, I was in excruciating pain until they found out what was going wrong with me. And I could never figure out why. I was just like always tired. Like, I'm just tired, just didn't want to do nothing. But you're right. It's like, if you're hurting, I'm gonna even take it even further. You mentioned it. If you're growing up in poverty, you're hurting every day, wondering where your food's coming from, where your meal, your lights, you're hurting every day. So if you're hurting physically, dude, that's gonna affect you. I done said, dude, my wife gonna kill me for saying that,
mm.
but
You fine. I ain't paying
you're
no
right.
attention.
That's gonna hurt. And I think, what's the fear? I know you mentioned a little bit of the fear, but what is the fear of counseling? I mean, we know what happened in the day, but I mean, like, for personally, for some people, what would be the fear to go to counseling for a person?
Because I would have to admit that something ain't working.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay.
It's not. It has nothing to do with the counseling profession. It has to do with I have to admit that something's not right.
Oh, man.
And
Yeah.
to do that, that's humbling. You have to overcome a lot of stigma. You have to overcome so many things. And yeah, to admit that is hard. And then sometimes people have even done it before and it was a bad
Right.
experience.
Okay.
Or they saw somebody else have a bad experience. And so there can be a lot of different factors, but that initial thing, because you just gotta muster up, you gotta call somebody,
Yeah.
or you gotta, send an email, and you have to put it down on paper that, like, I am dealing with this.
Right.
When most of the time you're able to go about your day. I made a post one day. I said, just because you're functioning doesn't mean you're fine.
Right.
And so because we're functioning, we will think like, oh, I'm good. So to admit that you're not good, it's a humbling
It's kind of
experience.
like the functional alcoholic, right?
Yep.
Right.
Yeah. And
Just
it's like, I'm
admit.
fine. I don't need that.
Yeah.
But it's like, once you admit, and that's what they do in AA, the first thing you got to do is say, so and so, so and so, I'm an alcoholic. You have to admit that there's a problem.
Now, do you get a lot of, I know, do you see that's hard for some clients to admit, or most clients come in and just want to just have a chit chat and like, I'm good, but I just came in for a refresher? Like,
It's a mixture. So my people that will come in and just be like, oh, I just need a refresher. There's still certain parts of their life that they still are like, I don't really want to touch that. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? We all have those things. And
we
just to
do.
normalize that,
We do.
we all have those things that, like, you're just like, like, I really don't want to touch on that. Like,
Right.
I wanted to keep on ignoring it and acting like
Mm.
it wasn't going on, because if I bring it up, it's a whole box that's gonna open, and I'm scared I can't put everything back in the box once it's out.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So
So,
how how can we encourage because I really want to focus on the Black community. How
mhm,
can we encourage people to go to or at least seek
encourage,
help?
seek
Or
seek counseling.
what's the phrase? Because you just said don't tell them to go to
Yeah,
counseling,
don't
but
tell them just to
how
go.
how can we make that more available, or just say, hey, this is open and this is something we should really think about and talk about?
Yeah. I think just continuing to have conversations about it. I
Okay.
think the more it's normalized for people, the more people do it. It's so funny. I remember when the skinny jeans first came out.
Right.
And all the men were like, I ain't wearing no skinny jeans. I don't do that. Da, 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 da. And then slowly but surely,
Yeah.
everybody's wearing skinny jeans now. Now, I wasn't gonna say nobody, but everybody's doing it now. And so, but there was like this no at first, but
Right.
it became normalized. And so
Okay.
now that it's normalized, now you're starting to see people do it. And so that's the thing. And I hate to say it this way, a lot of things in the Black community, we do. It seems like we just follow trends. So if a rapper says it, then everybody does it. But it's more than just following trends. We've
Right.
all, as a culture, have always had to rely on each other about what's
Mhm.
safe
Right.
and what's, and so it translates to, oh, well, that's cool to do now. That's safe to do now because T.I. said it, or
Right.
Beyonce said it, Jay-Z said it. And so it looks like, oh, they're just following celebrities. But it's like, no, we've always been a culture that's kind of relied on each other to know what's safe, because we didn't have anybody else to be safe with.
Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, I think that's definitely just normalizing it, continuing to talk about it, because I'm really starting to see an increase in it. A
That's
lot
good.
of people are wanting to come to counseling now, and being able to see people like me there, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Someone who
Right.
cares. Even if they hopefully Black, but even if they're not Black, somebody that they really feel like cares.
Yes.
Because what I would see a lot of times, because I used to work for I won't throw them out there, but I used to work for a nonprofit, and we worked with low income,
Mhm.
and everybody loved me. And I was like, everybody loved me in the hood. But like but it was like, but I
Let's go to the
genuinely,
sister in the back.
let's
That's the
go.
one I want to go to.
And see, I was in the community. I was a mobile therapist. So I
Okay.
actually
Oh
went to
yeah.
their homes.
Wow.
And
Okay.
so I was in their homes, and I'm sitting there crying because they crying. I'm like, girl, I don't know what's gonna happen. Like, like I'm here to help, but I'm in this situation with you. And the
Right.
way that just that helped them, like just knowing that someone outside of their situation cared,
Mhm.
gave them hope. And so when you're out in the community, when you show up, when you go to the prison, or you go to the hood, or you do whatever, like, and you're there consistently, like, people notice that. And that's one thing you can't do with the hood. You can't fake it for them.
No, you can't.
You better not come down there
No, you
faking it.
can't fake that.
And so they can peep real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah,
So
yeah.
going down there, keeping it real, and like us just normalizing and talking about it. And I think it works like a charm. They start coming.
That's true. And you know what I would love to see, and I don't know if this would ever happen in my lifetime. I just don't know. I know we do bits and pieces of it, but what I would love to see is more mental health for our young people.
Yeah.
No, seriously. I mean, I would love to see that because a lot of times the things that we see them do, it's like what you just said. It's not that they want to do these things, that they're just acting out because they don't know how to handle what's going on in their life. And
Hmm.
then the way, especially I'm a little older than you, especially my generation, is just the leather therapy. Like
Yeah.
they just need leather therapy, but no, they don't. They really need someone to talk to. And I think what I've been finding, I'm gonna just say for me, what I've been finding is these young people don't. They don't have anybody to talk to because their parents don't know how to deal with it because they need help.
Yep.
And so nobody's getting the help that they need. And so then we just blame the guns and we blame the drugs and we blame the sex and we blame the movies, but really they just need someone to talk to. And you said it, and I preach this too. Listen, y'all have to listen to these kids. I mean, you have to listen to them because we try not to miss it. We really try not to, but I mean, we can't hear everything. We try to because as parents we're busy. Our life is busy, but the kids they have a voice, and it ain't like back in the day, like you said. But I just hate that a lot of these kids are just not getting that because the whole ACEs thing and the trauma and I don't know. I think I probably suffer from some PTSD. And many of us probably do that grew up like that. We just didn't know it. And so having therapy, y'all, I'm telling you, going to see Tempest and going to see people like her who has the ability to plug in and dig in and find out what's going on in you is what we need. And so we don't need to be afraid to do that,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
especially as a black community. We really need to get out there and get some help. Because I'm gonna say, you don't have to say it. I'm gonna say it. It's my show. I'm gonna say it. We love to say, "Boy, you crazy," or "She crazy." Miss
Yeah.
Johnson, she is like,
Yeah.
she really is
She
like,
really is struggling with some things. Yeah.
yeah, and that girl is out there doing all that stuff. The dude is out there doing dude, they need help.
But and it's like I knew someone who was actually schizophrenic, and that's something that just freaks people out.
Oh yeah.
But like schizophrenia is a real thing. And
Mhm.
so like, but how much that would be different if we knew Miss Johnson was schizophrenic.
Right.
And because we know Miss Johnson is schizophrenic and she's having an episode, then we all as a community, because we done lost our village mentality. It's
Oh
like every
yeah.
man for himself kind of mentality. But like that village, we know Miss Johnson has schizophrenia. And so if she's not taking her medicine and she's starting to hear voices,
Right.
and the voices are telling her to yell out the door at everybody, then everybody can go, okay, Miss Johnson hadn't had her medicine.
Right.
And everybody just keep walking. You know what I'm saying? Or like
Right.
make sure she's okay.
Go check on him.
As go check on it, as opposed to being like, oh, Miss Johnson is crazy. Da, da,
Yeah.
da.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, well, Miss Johnson got schizophrenia, but Miss Lucy got depression. And
Mm.
Miss Songs like it's
Yeah.
everybody's
Everybody.
you got PTSD. You got da da da. And
Yeah.
to see mental health, because we pick and choose now. Depression and anxiety is becoming more normalized,
Mm.
but even some of those big ones like schizophrenia and
Yeah.
stuff like that, people are still like,
Don't want to touch it.
I can't touch it. But it's literally just a malfunction of the brain. That's
Yeah.
it.
Now,
That's all
now,
that's
now,
happening.
have you seen the movie? Now you mentioned the movie. I want to mention one real quick. Have you seen The Beautiful Mind?
I have.
Dude, I'm
I
telling
have.
you, I love that movie.
Such a good movie.
Such a good movie. And I use
Yeah.
a lot of the references from that movie too. And I just think it's
Yes.
amazing that he was able to do that on his own.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it's just amazing that he was able to do that. Okay,
It
so
is.
we going like way over time. I know we are. I know we are. But man, I just want to ask you a couple questions, and it because I there's so much. I just think my concern is that and my kids even tell me like, there's like times have changed. Things are different.
Yes.
That generation, like my daughter, she's 14, and you have some younger daughters too. They just don't see life the same
No.
way we see it. And it's through our life experiences, the things we've been through, things we've dealt with. So we do see life a little bit different. I'm trying. I tell my kid, I'm trying. I'm trying. I'm trying my best because I know, but like my grandfather, the things that he went through, it would be hard for me to tell him, don't think the way you think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard. It would be hard for me to tell him that. So I tell kids all the time, y'all say we're old fashioned, but you haven't been through what we've been through. You
Mm-hmm.
haven't dealt with what we dealt with. So we're not old fashioned. We're just kind of normalized to the things that we went through. So we're trying to adapt, but really some stuff is just in us that's just not going to come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's just not gonna come out. I made a little funny. I put this on Facebook. I said, my kids say we're old fashioned and talking about what they don't want to do and all this. I say, yeah, but my money ain't old fashioned to you. You
That
still
part.
want to use that, right?
That
So
part.
don't pick and choose what you want to use out of me.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate Tempest for coming on and sharing, all these things about, and I know we didn't hit all the things about counseling.
We're just
We
gonna
need to
have to
come
have me
back.
back
Yeah, you
because
most definitely have to
this
come
was
back. So I
yes.
want to hit you. I'm gonna hit you with some Fast and Furious. You
Okay.
ready? Some
Okay.
Fast and Furious. So just answer them just as quickly as you can. So, because I want some people to know some things about you.
Okay.
So, who do you look up to for inspiration?
Oh, who do I look up to for inspiration? So some of my faves, dead and alive. Maya Angelou.
Okay.
Love Maya Angelou. One of my favorites, Brene Brown.
Okay.
She talks on like vulnerability and all of that kind of stuff. Love Brene Brown. Um, and who else? Of course, Michelle Obama. Like she's one of my people. Like as far as class goes,
Right.
like
Right.
I really look up to her. And then there's a bunch of like people that I look up to. Marsha Linehan, who came up with DBT therapy.
Okay.
I don't know if I say look up to, but like definitely somebody that I'm like, wow, like she literally started a whole therapy.
Wow. Okay.
That is what we use to this day for like borderline personality disorder and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a lot of different people that I pull from
Oh, that's cool.
at different times.
So, what is the most important risk you took and why?
Oh, most important risk has been starting my own practice.
Okay.
For sure. Like
Yeah.
I was just gonna stay in my little comfortable cocoon, getting my paycheck.
Right.
And then COVID happened and it was like, nope, time to make a move. And so I stepped out. And I think the reason it's been so big is because it showed me to myself that I really could do anything.
Right.
I always
That's cool.
had put that off, like, oh yeah, I'll start my own business. I'll do all these things in the future. And so when that happened, it really like opened my mind up to like, oh wow, like I really can do whatever I want to do.
Okay, so what is the vision and mission for your practice?
Vision and mission for my practice is to cure mental illness and to help people lead happier and healthier lives.
What is one thing you wish you knew before you stepped into this role? One thing you wish you knew.
One thing I wish I knew. I wish I'd have known it wasn't gonna be as scary as I thought.
Oh, cool. That's the opposite of what most people say.
Yeah,
that's cool.
No, it was not what I thought. Oh, because I came up with some stuff in my head of how bad it could go. And it was
Right.
not that, and so I've been amazingly surprised.
Do you think real quick? Do you think part of it is because your comfortability in what you do, and it's just comfortable, and you just knew this is just where you was gonna flow?
It is, and when I say it's a calling, it truly
Yeah.
is. Half time people are like, "How do you do this? How do you listen?" I'm like, "This ain't even me at this point." Sometimes
Right.
I'm sitting in sessions and I'm like, "Yeah, that was God. I didn't even. He just used my mouth just then. I'm just here.
Right.
I'm just
right.
a vessel.
Just a vessel.
I'm just a vessel.
Okay.
You know."
one thing you would like people to know about you that many may not know.
May not know.
May not know.
Ooh. That I'm an introvert.
Really?
Yes. Most people do not know.
Man, you know darn well you ain't nowhere close to no introvert.
Talk to my family, and I am an introvert. Like
okay, cool.
I will go on a solo trip. I will close myself off in my room, which introversion is just how you re-energize.
Right,
so,
right.
I re-energize by being alone. So
That's
I can
cool.
spend weeks by myself.
Now your Facebook post don't tell you nothing about no introvertery.
No, nobody.
I'm just messing with
Nobody would ever know it unless
That's
I tell you.
great.
Unless
That's
you're
great.
around me long
Right,
enough,
right,
and then I
right.
shut down on
Right,
you.
your
And then
kids would
everybody's
know.
like, "What's
Kids would
going
know.
on?"
All right, last two questions. What is your favorite scripture? You have a favorite scripture that you kind of live
Philippians
by?
4:13. I can do all things through Christ who
That's
strengthens
it.
me.
That's it.
Yep.
Everybody. Okay. Last thing you want people to know about you. One thing you didn't do. You didn't put out your the name of your counseling.
Yes, Beloved Counseling
Beloved Counseling Services.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and something else about me is, in addition to counseling, I travel. Like that is my thing. Like if I am not counseling, and I'm probably somewhere planning a trip.
Yeah. There ain't nothing wrong with that.
That's what I love.
So what do you want to leave with everybody today? What would you really want to leave? Your last the last thing you want people to know about counseling and things like that?
Don't let fear stop you from what could be a bright future,
Okay.
because going to counseling is life changing in every way. And so don't allow fear or stigmas or what other people may think, because honestly, would nobody even know you're going anyway unless you told them.
That's true.
Don't allow those things to keep you, or even fear of what might come out or what may come up about yourself. Don't let those things keep you from what could be a life changing experience.
That's great. That's great. All right, y'all. It's your boy, Pastor Mike. And I love having Tempest on the show. And she most definitely going to have to come back and get a
Thanks
little
for
more into this
having
counseling
me.
thing and talk about that. Hey, listen, get out there and examine yourself a little bit. Don't be shy. I mean, because like she said, we all go through different things at different times. And, we all need help at different times, different points of our life, which we didn't even get into the whole thing about, anywhere from 8 to 10 dramatic things happen to all of us, in our lives, from death to marriage to new jobs, things like that can create these issues and problems in our life. So make sure you get out there and just really stay healthy. Leave them pork feet alone.
It's giving you depression in addition to high blood pressure.
Boy, I tell you what, them chitlins and ham hocks, what got me all toe up over here. But leave that stuff alone, man, and go get healthy. Once again, it's your boy Pastor Mike, aka 90s number 5. Remember, go out and make movements, not just moments. We just did this thing in the health field, so we look forward to seeing you again. I mean, I'm out. Your boy Mike. Peace, peace, peace.